Hi everyone, and welcome to the part 7 of this web developer bootcamp. And if you're able to follow me to this level, I say a big congratulations to you, because very soon you become a professional software developer. All right. My name remains Ogudimolumide Olalekon, the founder of Microsoft Technologies, and I told you that this video is being sponsored by Microsoft Technologies. You can check their websites by visiting www.microsoft.com. And if this is your first time of visiting my channel, you can click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And if you don't want to miss my next videos, kindly click on the click on the bell icon so as to always get notified of my new videos. Alright, in this video I'm going to be talking about CSS. I said this is the part 7 of this course, and we started from the scratch by talking about HTML. We've been able to actually put up a project like a simple web blog, and it's just very simple and with just little styling. But this time around we are going to be talking about CSS, and I'm going to be introducing you to CSS. And I said CSS is is a cascading style sheet. It's not actually a programming language, but it's a style sheet. It enables us to add styles to our HTML, you understand, and it's beautify our website, you understand. All right, without wasting our time, let us start fully. Now, CSS stands for cascading style sheet, and as I said earlier, it can be used to add more beauty to your website or web pages, you understand. And if you want to integrate CSS into your HTML file, there are 3 ways in which you can achieve that. And the first method is the embedded form, you understand. You can actually add CSS to your HTML file by actually writing the CSS into your HTML file directly, you understand. And if you watched my last video, the part 6 of this course, we did that, you understand. But it's fine, but it's not professional enough, and I'm going to tell you the reasons now. All right, let's get started, and I'm going to be telling you the other method of adding CSS as we proceed in this course, in this video. All right, let us go to our text editor and let us open our previous project. The folder is on my desktop, which is my site. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to work on that simple blog, you understand. That's what we are going to be working on now. All right, let's open this. This was what we were able to achieve in the last class, and we were able to build this simple blog. And in this video, you are going to be doing more, you understand. And at the end of this section, at the end of this CSS class, we are going to be building a beautiful website. Okay. All right. So let us go to our VS Studio. You already know how to open your VS Studio. I'm just going to open a new window, you understand, just because I have a project I'm running presently, and I've been working on the project, so I don't want to close the tab. So I'm going to open a new window. So I'm just going to click on that file, and I'll click on new folder, open folder. So once you click on open folder, you get your project. Okay, you go to desktop. That's where I saved the folder, which is my site. You don't need to open that folder, just click on it and make sure it's showing here. Then you click on select folder. All right, so we are going to have all our files in the folder. Right. So let's talk about it now. In this project now, at least we are able to include CSS in this HTML file, you understand. And this is the embedded method, you understand. As you can see, and if you want to do that, you just do that by creating a style tag just before the body tag, you understand, because you are not actually writing the style in the body tag, you understand. So it's going to be before the body tag, then you begin to add your CSS, blah blah blah. And before you can be able to do any styling, I told you that there's going to be a need for an identifier. How do you identify your CSS tag? I told you that each tag, each sections, each tag, each div can be styled. But Now, since we are going to be writing our CSS outside the body, then how do you call that CSS? How do you know what you want to style? That is when an identifier comes in. You understand? And I said we have two identifiers. It can either be an ID or a class. Yes, it can either be an ID or a class. But one of them is a unique identifier. You understand what I'm trying to say now? You know, when you use ID, it means that ID, that particular name you are giving that ID only belongs to that particular section, maybe a div or a tag or whatever, you understand, or that particular tag. Let's just use tag, you understand. So when I'm using ID now, it means this particular style that I want to declare is going to be meant for only this or only the bearer of that ID, you understand. Let's take for instance in your school or in a school system, your matric number is just your personal number. It's a unique number for each student, okay? Now, but your let's say you are in 100 level, or maybe you are in a particular class. You are not the only one in that class. So if I want to call all the students in 400 level, you understand, definitely all the students in that class will come out. I'm not only calling one person, you know, I'm calling a class. So definitely whenever I specify a class, whenever I actually give a what's it called, a tag, a class identifier, it means I want to also use that particular styling for another bearer of that class. But once you are using an ID, it is a unique. For example, now if I want to actually call a student matric number, now it is only a student that can bear that matric number because it's a unique identifier. All right. Now, in the last class, we were able to style the header. You understand? You know, we were able to talk about the semantic tags, and you know, each of them now we can style it. You understand? For example, in the last class, we were able to style the header by using what, the unique identifier, which is what, ID, and I specify the name ID, just the way you declare your attribute, equals to, then followed by what, a double quotation. Then you actually specify the name of your word, of your ID, main header in this case. Then you go back to that your CSS tag where you have it. Then we call it. And I said whenever you want to call an ID, you call it using what, arch, the arch sign. You understand? And that's what they call selector. You know, since ID and class, they are two different things. So the way, you know, the way you call them will also be different. You understand? Okay. So whenever you want to call an ID, you use arch, the arch sign, followed by the ID name without any spacing. Okay. And whenever you want to talk about class, whenever you want to call it class, use dots. We are going to be talking about class fully in this same video. So just make sure you watch till the end of this video, and you're going to learn a lot. Okay. All right. So now, this is the header tag, and I want to style this header. Then I need an identifier, right? I call it what, ID equals to what, main header. Then I'm able to what, call that ID by using what, the selector, which is arch, followed by that main header that I gave it in this body section. Okay. Now then I was able to what, add a background color to it, which is this text align center, blah blah blah. You understand? All right. Let us proceed. And this is just one of the ways of adding CSS to your what, to your HTML page. Okay, and this is called the embedded method. But there is a disadvantage of using this method. Actually, sorry, there is a disadvantage of using this method. One of the advantages is just that, like, or let me say the main disadvantage of using this method, or using the embedded CSS method, is that whenever you do is an embedded CSS style, it is only going to be restricted to that page alone. You understand? Let's say, for example, now I also want to create about us page. You know, when you are creating another page, your header and the nav, they are going to take the same styling now. So then you have to also copy that CSS and copy to that page again. So that's a wasting of time or whatever. You understand? So the best thing to do is to follow the standard method, which we are going to be talking about in this same video. But before that, let me tell you the second method in which you can actually apply CSS to your HTML, and that method is called the inline method. Inline what? Method. How do we go about that? For example, now let us talk about this first article. Now, because this is inline method, now I don't need an identifier for it, because I'm specifying the style in that particular tag. I'm not writing any CSS. I'm not even creating any CSS tag. I'm specifying that style in that tag directly. So if you want to do that, this is how you do it. This is how you apply the inline CSS method to your HTML file. Go to that opening tag of the article. Let's talk about this first article that we have here. Let's go to that first the opening tag of it, and to apply your inline CSS style, you start by writing what? Style, just like an attribute, just like you want to add an attribute to something. You say style is equals to, then a double quotation. Okay, let's say for this article now, I want to add a background color of black to it so that you can understand what I'm saying better. Okay, just like the way you declare normal CSS, but this time around it's going to be different because you are writing inline form of CSS. Okay, so you specify the style attribute just like the way you write your normal attribute in your tag. Okay, in that article opening tag, you declare an attribute called style equals to, then followed by double quotation. Then now you can now do whatever you want to do. Okay, let's go. I want to change the background color to what? BACKGROUND color. I want to change it to what? Just the same way you specify your CSS declaration. Can you see now? Background color, then you put a column there. Okay, then you specify the color. Let's say I want it to be black, and I told you can as well use hexadecimal code to for your color. For example, now black is 000. Okay, now let's check something. Now if I go to that page now and I refresh, let's see what's going to happen to that article. Can you see now? It is now black. All right, this is an inline form of CSS styling. Okay, I'm applying the styling directly to that tag. You understand? Maybe fine, I only want to just specify something that is going to be unique to that particular tag alone. I don't want to include my CSS page. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, all right, now you can see that the text are not showing, right? Let's still do something now using that inline method. But before that, do you know that? Okay, fine, let's leave that. Now let's talk about the color. Now this is the article tag. I can as well specify the color inside the same column, inside the same double quotation. Okay, since you already have a semicolon there, it means you can still take more CSS declaration. Okay, for example, I can also declare the color now. Listen now, if you don't put the semicolon there, if you're only meant to apply one style into it, it's fine, it's going to work. You understand? It's going to work. Okay, it's still the same thing. Okay, it's still the same thing. But since I'm going to also specify some other declaration inside the same quotation that I have here, then it's going to be the initial one is going to be followed by a semicolon. Okay, then I want to specify a color of this one. Now because the background is white, then the color I want it to be what? White. White is HFFF. I told you don't need to cram the color. If you want to get a color, just go to your Google and type HTML color code or whatever. Okay, color picker. Yeah, you understand? You're gonna get whatever color you want. You can just just like the way you use your Photoshop, all those things. And if you want color white, you can just come down here and just play around. This is FFF. Okay, then you copy it. Fine, then you apply it. So you don't need to cram, but because I'm used to it, then I think I'm able to know some color codes. Okay, all right, let's check what we have here now by clicking on Ctrl S. Whenever you apply anything, just click on Ctrl S to save, and you go to your browser to preview what you have done. You understand? It's advisable as a beginner to always check whatever you have done so that you'll be able to know whether something's work out or not. Okay, all right, can you now see that this is an inline form of styling? All right, it is fine, you can use it as well, fine, but still it is still not professional enough, because in some cases you're going to have a lot of CSS styling, and writing everything in your HTML page is going to make your code rough. I won't lie to you. Apart from the fact that yes, it's not going to make it reusable, it's still going to make it rough. Okay, so it's not advisable to what's it called, to write all your CSLs in an inline form. But in some cases you can have a standard CSS file and still, you know, play around with inline stuff, but that's not where you're going to be writing all your CSS file, because it's going to be huge as well. All right, so now that's it. Okay, now let me tell you the third way of adding CSS into your HTML file, and that's a standard and professional method. Okay, and it is called external form. Okay, that's adding your CSS to your HTML file externally. All right, you are going to be creating another page for the CSS, and you are going to be linking it to your HTML. Okay, now let us do that. If you want to do that now, the first thing you need to do is go to this side of your code editor and click on this icon, the new file, stay on this same project, okay, on this same folder, then click on it and name it style.css. Mind you, you can give it any name you want, but make sure that the extension is .css. You know why? Because when you are writing HTML code, you specify .html. That's when your editor is going to be able to recognize that yes, so this is what HTML that you are writing, and it's going to suggest some tips or some code for you. You understand, HTML codes for you. So when you use .css as well, the editor is going to know that yes, what you are writing now, or whatever you are going to be writing in this particular file is based on CSS. So it's going to be able to suggest some CSS standard what's it called, tags for you. You understand? And by the time you start typing maybe 1 or 2 characters, it's going to be able to suggest what you're about to do for you, because it's already recognized that yes, this is a CSS file. All right, let us click outside this and let's create a file. Can you see now? This is a CSS file. Okay, there's not a biggie there. Okay, let's go back to our HTML page. Now, after creating your CSS file, even if you do anything here, it's not going to work. Okay, for example, now let's try to this particular main header that we have here, this style main header that we have here. I'm going to copy it now, just the CSS alone, the declaration. I'm not going to remove the style tag. Okay, the one that we have for the header that makes it to be blue, I'm going to copy it out here. I'll cut it out. Okay, it's no longer there again. And if I refresh this my page, nothing is going to happen again, right? Because there is not, the styling has been removed from the particular page. Now I'll go to my CSS file now, the external CSS file that I created, and I'm going to paste this guy here. It's still going to have a selector, right? But when I save it, guess what? Nothing is going to change. Why? Because the CSS file I created separately or externally is not in any way linked to my HTML file. Okay, on the norms it cannot work now. There's no any magic in this thing. I created a file separately and I specify my CSS and do all those stuff, but there's no any relationship between the file and the HTML page. It's not going to work. So that means you need a link. Okay, you need to link that your external CSS file to that your HTML file, and that's where they can connect and see each other. All right, now you see that I declared a styling initially using the embedded method, but I copied that same styling, I cut it out, and I pasted it in this external CSS file, but it's not seeing it. Why? I need to link it together. Okay, go back to that your simple plug.html page and let us link our CSS. How do you link your CSS to your HTML? How do you link your external CSS file to your HTML? Very simple. After the title, in the head tag, are you with me now? I told you that the head contains those things that are not visible to the browser. Okay, and I've explained that in our initial videos. Okay, now let's go back. Now if you want to actually link your CSS file to your HTML file, it is very simple. Let's go. You're going to be using this tag link. You understand? Just type link and okay, right, and it's going to be having a rel attribute, and the rel is going to be equals to style sheet. Okay, the rel is going to be equals to if you don't put this, it's not going to work. That's the attribute. This is link. It's not just any other link, but this particular link, the rel is the relationship is the style sheet. Okay, and the href, we have already used href before because we have used it to add external link to our what, to our a tag. Yes, when we're trying to create a learn more button, let me quickly show you that here. You know, this is after creating the a tag, you understand, we put href just to what, make it to be a link, you understand, and that's where it's going to point to what, the page or the URL you want it to go. Okay, so definitely anything can actually have this href tag, you understand, but in as much you put this href tag here, it means href attribute. It's not a tag, please, it's not a tag. Href attribute, it is expecting a link either to a page that is in your project or to an external web page. Okay, fine. Now, so when you have this link now, and the rel is what, style sheet, please specify it. Okay, that's one attribute, Abby. The other attribute again is what, I need it to what, to be linked to another page, Abby, which is I'm going to use href. Whenever you want something to link to something, you use what, href, Abby. You can add your link, you can add, but this time around I want to link it to a page that is existing in my file or in my project, okay, or in my folder, which is what, style.css. Okay, don't forget you have style.css there. So once I just put it here now, style.css, let's see what's going to happen now. I've already linked this tab. I've already linked this word HTML to my CSS because this is done in my HTML page. This is done in my HTML page. Okay, this is done in my HTML page. And I'm sorry, I have a call. Sorry for this. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, now this link is done on my HTML page. Okay, but now I use the link tag. Then it's going to have an attribute. It doesn't have a closing tag. Okay, but it's going to have an attribute which is the rel, and it's going to be equals to what, style sheet. That's one of the attributes. Put a space there. It also needs another attribute which is href, which is going to point to what, to our external CSS file. Okay, the href will now be equals to what, style.css. That's the name of that file now. Okay, now let us save this now. That stuff that is not working, that is not seeing the file before, let's see if it's going to see it now. Wow, can you now see something now? That particular style that I copied or that I cut away from the embedded CSS styling, and I pasted it into what, the external CSS file, and it doesn't find it before. Now it is now seeing it now. Okay, what happened? Because there is a connection between the CSS file and the HTML file. Now try it out on your own, try it on your code and see if it works. If it works, then good luck, it means you are doing well. Okay, if it doesn't, watch the video again and check it out. Okay, it's very simple. The step is just simple. Create another file as if you want to create a new page. Create another file and give it an extension of what, of .css. So in my own case, I use style.css. Okay, that's what I did. I created a page and I call it style.css, and you know, the same way I actually wrote my embedded styling wherever, that's still the same thing I did here. Actually, I just copied that, I cut out that what I have in that embedded stuff, and I place it in that code. But it's not going to see it if I did not link both pages together. Okay, and how do I achieve that? I go back to my head tag, the head tag, you understand, and I apply this link tag, followed by inside the link tag. It doesn't have a closing tag, okay, but it has an attribute of rel, which is what equals to what, style sheets. That's what you should know. Okay, and also it needs something to be able to link it to that page, which is the connector. Okay, and that's what href can, if I put a website, it's good. Okay, but this is not an anchor tag, so it's not going to be visible. You know that now. So it's not on our body page, so you can't see it or wherever. You won't be the one to click on it. Okay, href is equals to style.css, which is what, the page I created here. Okay, which is our CSS file. We are good to go. Now let's now see something now. I'm going to leave this first article here. You know, I use the inline method to do this. Okay, now inside this header, I want to, this is our header tag that we have here. This is our header tag that we have here. Let me quickly style this main header as well. Okay, I think I already call it here. Which using the word, the selector, which is arch main header. Now let us change the color to blue. The color of the font to what, to red. Let's see if it's gonna work. So it's gonna work, right? Okay, I think it's making sense. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. Let's go back to that CSS. Let's go back to our HTML page. This second article now. Let us give it an ID. You know that ID is an identifier. Let's give an ID of what? Of second, C-O-N-D, second what? Second article. Okay, that's the name of the ID. Then I want to style it separately. Okay, now if I come back to this page now, my CSS page now, I have to call it, okay, which is what? How do I call it now? I'll use the @ sign followed by the name of the what? The identifier, okay, because I gave a second article. That's just, it has to be the same, okay? You understand? I just copied it and pasted it here. Right now, so I want this my second article to have a background color of let's give it a background color of red. Let's just play around with it. This is just for learning's sake, okay? Don't worry, you're gonna do a very good project, okay? What's wrong? Can you see something? He's not seeing it. What's wrong? It's not working, okay? Yeah, it is normal. Let's check it out. What's wrong? Yeah, let's go. Let's check our page. What's wrong? Background color red. So what's wrong with you? Oh, it's working, okay? I didn't save it actually. Can you now see now that the second article has another word background color? So I'm doing all this styling in my external word CSS file. Okay. Now another thing again, let's quickly go back to this now. We've started our CSS class already. So if I decide to style all the h3, you understand, I want to give all the h3 on this particular page or on this particular HTML file, I want to give them the same styling. Then in that case, I don't even need to give them an identifier. You understand what I'm trying to say now? For example, now I want to style all the h3 here now. Whenever you are styling a tag, you understand, and you want the style to be general, you might not even need to put an identifier because you know that yes, so this particular, for example, now this is why I'm able to actually style this article tag differently was because I added different identifier to it. If I decide to give them the same name, let's go now. If I decide to come to this my HTML page now, and this is my first article, and I decide to give them the same identifier, look at it, although it's an ID, it's supposed to be for that particular one. But if I decide to for example now, let's say this is where is it? Oh, even this first one, it doesn't have an identifier because it's I use an inline styling for it. Okay, let's just leave that for now. Okay, for example now this third one now, this third article here, if I decide to still give it this same ID of second article, look at what's going to happen. If I decide to paste this here now, look at what's going to happen now. It's going to take the same styling. Okay, can you see now? Because they they carry the same identifier. But I told that that's an error because ID is just unique. It's only meant to style a particular stuff. It's meant for that stuff alone. But if I want something that is common for everything, let's say I want all this article to have the same styling, I could have just specified the article tag here and just without even giving them an identifier, I'll just call it here and whenever I declare here anything that has an article tag in our page, we always carry the same word styling. For example now, this is my h3 tag. I want all my h3 to be the same. I want them to have the same styling. Okay, now let's go now. What I need to do is I don't need to give them an identifier because I can't give them an ID because ID is supposed to be unique for one h3, not for all. And the other alternative I can use is what, to specify a class, but I'm not talking about class here now. Okay, now let's talk about it now. I want to start my h3 now. I'll just go to this page. I don't have an identifier to call them, but I can just use the name. They know that tag, which is h3. You don't need to put it in the tag. Just type h3 and do your normal CSS declaration. How do you do your normal declaration in CSS? After calling the identifier, you are going to use what they call it bracket, or you call it a brace bracket. Then that's how you declare your CSS. But if you want to do that, then you start writing your CSS or declaration. For example now, my h3, I want all my h3 to be at the center. What am I going to do? I'll say text align -align. Don't forget, you don't use space, you use hyphen in CSS to combine two words. Okay, center. Let's go, let's check it out. Initially all my h3 they were here, you understand, before, but since I already specified to be at the center, let's refresh. Can you now see that the h3 now, all of them, they are at the center now? Can you see now? Because I didn't use an identifier for them now because I want them to take the same word styling. But in some cases, maybe for example on this particular section of this site now, it's H3, but I want a special styling for this one alone. What am I going to do? I will specify what an ID attribute for it. Okay, that yes, with this particular one, I don't want you to behave like other H3 tags. Are you getting my point now? So that's when I need what? An identifier, so I can style them separately. Okay, let's still go on without our H3. For example, now this H3 now, I want the font size FONTSIZE. I want the font size to be, let's say, 40 pixel. You understand? All my H3, because I'm styling the H3, I didn't give them an identifier, so it's going to be for all. Okay, I'm going to go here now and see. Can you now see now? All the H3 are taking the same word, font size. But look at me now. I want something. I don't want this my second article H3. I don't want it to be like them. You understand? In fact, I don't want it to be like them. I want this my second article. I want it to be underlined. This is my second article. What am I going to do? I'm going to go and specify an identifier for it. Okay, I'll go back to my HTML file. This is my second article now. Where is it? Yeah, this second article, right? Okay. You go to the H3 that is here, and let's give it an ID. You understand? I want to call it now an ID of what? Of second what? H3. Okay, it's an ID. I'm just going to copy this ID here, then go back to my CSS and call it by its name, which is arch. Come back here now and use your arch to call the ID that you created. Now for this particular H3, this second H3, I want the color to be blue. I don't want all of them to be the same. I want this particular one, I want the color to be blue. Let's see what's going to happen. It doesn't work, right? Why? Because they already have general stuff, but this is what I can do to it. Now let's see, let's first see there. Let's see. Okay, fine. I have to save it. I have to save this guy. So let's go back here. It should work. All right, now can you see now? This is my H2. Fine. I already specified the same styling for all the H3, but because I want to style this one differently, okay, or separately, I have to go and use an identifier that uses it. Whenever I call your own name, I want you to behave otherwise. Okay, I can decide to underline this guy now. I can say I think text, how do we underline? Text decoration. How do you underline? Yeah, underline. Yeah, I think I'm right. Yeah, can you see now? Just for this particular one. You understand? Just for this particular H3 that is here. But if I want the same stuff for all of them, what I could have done is just what, I taught you how to comment already. Let me just copy out this guy. What I have here, I'll copy it out, and I'm going to comment out everything that is here. Okay, let's comment it out. Bam. I'm not calling you again. Okay, I'm not calling that guy again. It's going to take the same styling with other H3 that I have here. But if I want them to all have the same styling, I'll just call them without using an identifier or a selector. I'll just paste this class here. You see that all the H3 will have the same styling. Now can you see now? That's how to go about it. Okay, yeah. What other things we need to talk about? We are still talking about the inline, the external CSS. You understand? And that's how to go about it. Okay, now I'm also going to be talking about CSS body. Okay, like how to style the body tag. All right, now for example, now if you want to style the body tag, this is what you should do. Come back to this guy. I want it to be at the top now, because now look at your page. Go back to your HTML page now. This body tag now, it's the one that contain all your content. Okay, that's where your content have been written. Okay, including your footer, everything falls in the body tag. Can you see now? Can you see the body tag there now as a shaman? Okay, now sometimes you can even style the HTML because it carries everything. It's a father or grandfather to the old stuff that you have here. But let's leave the grandfather alone. Let's talk about the grandmother, which is the body. Okay, now this is the body tag now. If I want to style this body tag now, I don't even need, because this is body, is just one there. I don't start using an identifier or whatever. I can just call it straight in my CSS. When I'm starting the body, I don't need to I just have to write the body straight off. It's not a tag. So when you are writing CSS, you don't have to put a you don't have to put that bracket there. Just write it straight off. This is body. It's only one body that we have in our page, so I don't have issue with you. I want to style you this body. Let's go. After writing the body, what are you going to do? You use your word, your curly bracket. That's how to write CSS, okay? Then press your enter key to space it, okay? Then inside it, what are you going to do next? Declaration. For this my body tag now. You know, let's say I want this body, I want the body of my website, I want this body of this page, the body. That's what actually carries everything that we have here. I want the background color of my body. There's one background color I like most, which is my friend, which is what? F4, something like grayish color like this. By the time I save this guy now, let's see what's going to happen to the body of this site. Wow, do you notice anything? Do you notice that straight from white to something like gray? Okay, you don't notice that, right? Let me do something that is noticeable then. Let's make the background color to be one rubbish color like that, orange. You know, I'm not saying orange is rubbish, I'm just playing, okay? Don't mind me. It might be your own favorite color, okay? Background color of the body. Everything is going to be orange. Can you see? That's the body, because all this footer, everything are inside this body. You understand? So anytime I specify for that body tag, we have effect. For example, on this body tag, they go, what can I do to the body tag? How do I style the body tag? For example, it can contain my background color. Another thing again is that I can decide to specify the font family that I want to use for the whole of my website on this body tag, because everything is in this body tag. So whenever I start the body tag, whatever thing that belongs to that body tag, we also carry the styling of that body tag, except I want to style them differently. That's when I'm going to apply an identifier to them. That okay, for example, now on my body tag, I can specify that yes, my H3, this is my H3 here. All the H3 that I have here should be like this. Okay, inside is my body tag. I can say okay, for example, now this is my body tag. Now I can say okay, fine. My font size, the font size I want to use for this page, the first font size should be what? Let's use 20 pixel. Look at something that's on the body. Every other thing that is on this page will obey that body. That grammar, you understand? Can you see now? Now that's for the body tag. What again? I can try to specify what a font family that I want to use, just like the way you apply font family to your Excel. Font family. Yeah, you can use Arial, a vertical, sans serif. You can use any font you like, okay? And in our subsequent classes, we are going to be talking about how you can import external CSS fonts, external fonts into your. You can use any font you like, just the way you use your Photoshop and you apply different fonts to your design. You can do that here as well. But for this class, this is what we are going to be doing for now, because we are seeing the basic level of this class. On my body tag, I want the font family to have what area. If you don't see our area, use a vertical. If you don't see a vertical, use what sans serif. Now let's save and let's see what's going to happen now. Can you see now? Do you notice that the font, there's a change in the fonts now of everything? I don't even have to like start specifying the font family for each of these stuff. By default, look at even the paragraph also obey the grandmother, which is the body. Can you now see now? Can you see now? Because okay, let's go back. If I decide to go back to what we have before and I do something like this now without that font family, let's see what's going to happen. Can you see that there's a change in the font? Yeah, it's just somehow. So you can actually determine the font family that you want for your website. Okay. Now let's go back again. I'm starting the body presently, and you go back to it. No, yeah, sorry, yeah. I want to go back to this. Now let me introduce you to something. There's one thing we call safe web fonts. You understand? Because sometimes if you use some font, like let's say you use like some font that are not common, like all this Montserrat, all these Poppins, Tuesday Night, all those lot of font like that. If you use those font, your browser might not have that font. You understand? But in order to be safe, there's some stuff they call what? There's one thing they call web safe font. Just go to your Google and type web safe fonts. Okay, so it's going to give you the list of fonts you can. You have told you don't have to cram anything here. You can use Arial, you can use Bandana, you can use a vertical, and we use these three at the same time in what we are doing now. And just because I said okay fine, if this area is not available, use Bandana, use a vertical, because if sometimes if you open a particular web URL in 3 different browsers, they are going to give you their own different styling. Why? Because some of them might not have the fonts that you even used, you specified in your code, so they will use the next one that they have now. But I'm telling this that, okay, this is why I specified the 3 is that, okay, if you don't have a layout, give it bandana or give it a vertical. Don't give me any rubbish font that I did not specify. That's what I'm telling my browser, and that's what I'm, you know, specifying in my code. Okay, you can also use Taoma. Those are the safe fonts. You can use Taoma, sans serif. You can use Trebuchet. You can use Times New Roman. This is a very default font. You can use Georgia. You can use Grammont. You can use Korean New, Monospace. You can use Brush Script. Those are web safe fonts. You can Google search it, and you know, then you're good to go. You don't have to cram anything I've told you. You know, as you grow, you get used to all these things. Okay, what are those things I can do again to my body tag? Okay, in this my body, because I don't have time to start, you know, styling those things individually. Okay, I want to give a, what's it called, except you want to, okay, fine. For example, now when I specify this font family now for this body, now all other stuff in that body, because everything are being included in the body, they must obey the body tag. Where am I? Sorry, this is where am I? Okay, yeah, can you now understand? Just because I specify the font family now, and because all these guys are inside the body, they must obey. Seriously, they have to obey me. No, I'm not joking, they have to obey me. Okay, now this is what I want to do now. But in case I don't want this my what's it called, site header to have that same, what's it called, same font family that I specify in the body tag, I can now style it separate. That, okay, my own header that is here, that is in that header, what's it called, that is in the header tag, I want to give you the different font family. That's left to you. That's when you can now use what, an identifier to what, okay, for this particular one, no, I want to give you the separate styling. That's when the identifier comes in. Okay, now let us proceed. What again can we do to our body tag? I mean, sorry, our body style. You are styling our body now, and if you are styling the body, you don't need to use a selector to call it. You can just style the body and use your normal CSS declaration by using the brace bracket and, you know, declaring your styles. Another important thing I want to tell you here is what, the line height. For example, now if you look at this stuff now, like, I don't know, maybe the height of this paragraph, you know, fine, you only have one text there. Maybe the line is too big for you or whatever. You have control over everything. Okay, now let's do something. Okay, you go back to that body tag and specify the line height. Line line height. Okay, line height, I want it to be, let's say, 1.6. I'm gonna use 1.6. Let's use rem. 1.6 rem. If you go back to this page now, let's see what's going to happen to our line height. Can you now see something now? It has been adjusted, right? Okay, but if you don't want to use although I use 1.6, okay, I use 1.6 and it's normal. What you are seeing is normal. Okay, we have control over everything. Okay, it's going to, you can see it shifted this guy up a bit, and, you know, fine, you can make it smaller if you want. You can make it, or if you want to, if you don't want to use rem, you can use em. You understand? The only thing is just that when you use rem, it's going to be relative to the present container that you have. It's going to work as a ratio, like, okay, 1.6 of this guy. But if you use em, it's going to take take the what's it called, the ratio of the body. You understand? So let's leave that. So you go, okay, I said I want to change this guy from 1.6 to something different. Let's say 1.2. I'm using em now, I'm not even using rem. Can you see something now? So you can also play with it, and we are going to be working about, we are going to be talking about this in our next videos, and we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Okay, so that's that about that. What again can you specify in your body tag? I've specified my font family, my line height. What again now? What again can I specify? What again? Okay, fine. Let us quickly do something again. Let's move away from that body tag now. At least you've been able to at least learn one or two things there. As we go on, we know what to do. Okay, now let's go to that what again, this article, this second article. Okay, and for example, for this my body tag, I can try to specify what's it called, I can try to specify padding or whatever, but I'm not going to talk about that now. Please, I'm going to be talking about padding, margin and border in my next video. So that's why I say you don't need to miss this video. Please, if you really want to, go along with this course and you really want to achieve a lot with this course, don't miss my next video, please. That's why I said it is important for you to subscribe to my channel and also click on the bell icon so that you always get notified when I post my new video. I don't want to keep it too long. Okay, now let's quickly do something now with this article tag. Let's say I want to style this my article here. this article that is here now. Let's do something now. Okay, this first article that we have here now, you know, in fact I don't even want that. I don't want that what's it called, inline styling. I'm going to take it off. Okay, I'm going to take it off right now. I don't want it. I'm going to take it off. Okay, just take it off. I'm going to take it off. Okay, now by the time why am I no, I just want to take this guy off. Yeah, so now let me refresh now. You see that the first guy will just be normal. Okay, it's taking the background of the body tag. That yellow is coming from the background, okay, of the body. I mean the styling of the body. All right, so let's do something to that article now. Let's go and use our external CSS to style it. So this is what I'm going to do now. But if I want to style all my article, if I want them to have the same styling, what do I need to do? I just have to just call the article here and, you know, style them or give them the same styling. Okay, for example, now I can still do that. Let's call this article tag. Let's copy it now. I'll go back to my CSS now. I want a general stuff for all the article, right? I'll just come down. I'll just say, okay, for all my article, this is what I want for you guys. I'm not using a selector. I'm not giving them the class now. But for all my article, all this tag, every tags that bears article, I want you to do something for me. Be like this, okay? Now I want to, what should I do? On my article, I want to specify the width for you guys. width, okay? I want to specify your width, okay? And I want the width to be let's say 400 pixel. I don't know what I'm going to be expecting, but I'm going to see some changes. Okay, width, can you see now? Look at something now. All the text, because when I said the width is 400 pixel, it has adjusted everything. You can see initially the product, you can see now everything is taking the same styling. Can you see this box? Normally it's spanned across this top before, it covers this page before, but because I specified the width to be equal to this, can you now see something now? They have already adjusted. Even the text that was long before, they have to, because this is the width, this is that 400 pixel from here to here, they have to obey me. I'm styling the word, I'm styling the article tag together, everything. You understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not styling. Well, if I want to style them separately, if I want to give this one color red, I have to call the word identifier, the name. But because I'm giving them I'm giving them similar styling, that okay, I want your width to be the same. Oh. So I'll not have to be what creating that all the time. I have to do that, okay? But now I don't like that guy. This is what I'm going to do. Let's make it 80%. I'm trying to do something, okay? Oh, fine. Yeah. Let's still leave it at 400. I want to do something first. It's still 400%, right? Okay. Let's now do something now. Let's apply a margin to it. We're going to be talking about margin in our next class, so you understand. But let's apply margin to it. Margin, you know, margin is like you are creating a space, you know, on all the size of your words. Your, should I call it container or what, or div or wherever. I want the margin to be auto. Let's see something. Let's see something now. Can you see now? It's at the center now. You know this is why I'm doing this now, because if you now check your mobile phone now, you understand, or on a small device, it's going to what make everything be at the center and it's going to be responsive. Okay. Now look at something now. This time around, I don't want that my guide to be what, to be 400. I want the what's it called, the width of that article. I want it to be 80. I want to set it in percentage so it's going to be responsive. 80%. Okay. Instead of using pixel, use 80%, and let's see what's going to happen now. Can you now see now? Can you now see now? You know this one that is coming here is a lot of that line eyes that we specified. Though there's a way you can style it better, but let me just comment out this guy so that you at least you like what you are doing a bit. Okay. Can you now see now that everything there is? Can you now see this? Because I paint this one is colored, you can easily see that. Yes, so this is what 80%. It's taking 80%. It's not taking all like the one we have initially. So if I decide to shrink this page now to a mobile view, can you now see that everything is coming to the center? And that's how you will design a responsive page. Okay, a responsive. Can you now see? Initially it was long. Let's see something. Let me shrink this page little by little. Okay, when I shrink it now, can you now see, look at that paragraph? Can you now see that they are coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down? Yes, because of what? I specified the width as what, 80%, and you know the width of that article. but the body still covers everything. And this particular header is not part of them, Abby. I'm only talking about this article. Now let me now give each of them different color. You understand? For example, I want to give my first article a different color. What am I going to do? I'll go back to there and specify an identifier, which is an ID equals to what, followed by what, double quotation, first word article. All right, I'm going to save it. I'm going to copy this guy. If you what's it called, did not save your what's it called, changes in HTML file, and you can call it on your CSS, you should not see it. You have to change it. Now my first article, now what I am going to do, how do I call it? I'll just come down here and use the word @ sign followed by that name of the article, the identifier I specified, and I'll use my normal declaration. I want the background color to be what? I want it to be black, what I have before. You understand? I want the background color to be black, and I want the color of the text. You want to give your text a color, you just use your normal color. I use white. Okay, and let's save it out. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. Can you now see now? Because I specified the width of this, all the article to be 80% and the margin to be auto, so automatically it's going to make them to be at the center and it's going to be responsive. Okay, can you now see now? So you are beginning to what you know to do cool stuff. Okay, something that is very cool. Okay, can you now see now? On mobile phone, it's going to come to the center, and if you try to stretch it on tablet, it's going to just adapt to your screen. Can you now see? Can you now see? Wow, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. All right. What again do I need to talk about? Let me see. I don't want to keep this video too long. Okay. Wow. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about. Margin, padding, and border. So we are going to be able to do more cool stuff. So please, don't be tired. It's not actually difficult. It's just about you practicing and you're not relenting. And very soon you'll be there. So I wish you good luck and happy coding. Take care. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also keep us growing. Okay, I told you when you subscribe, it motivates me a lot. When I wake up and see my subscribers growing, it motivates me to do more cool stuff. And aside from this video, also check out for my other videos. I have some other interesting video that you can easily learn from. Okay, and aside that again, if you are just watching the videos for the first time, this is part 7 of this course. I'm going to paste the link to the previous class, which is the part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, and part 6 of this course, so that I can catch up from the beginning. And the aim is to be able to be a full stack developer. All right, take care. Bye bye.